Hello and welcome back to Nathan Schoenberg Sports. Nathan Schoenberg Sports and Music will be back on the air on ChapmanRadio.com next week. For now, I have a week left, and I was going to do some more podcasts this summer. Ended up getting too busy, but we are back now. The NFL season starts tomorrow, so let's get straight into the predictions because I don't want this video to be too long. Anyway. So I wrote two articles. They will be posted right below in the description for this video. And those are my predictions with the standings, awards, playoffs, and week one. Because I don't want my radio show to make my other predictions for week one. So let's just jump right in. First off, we have the AFC East. We have the Patriots going 12-4. First place, obviously. They'll have a couple key games against the Chiefs, the Texans, but not too bad of a schedule, actually. Bears, they have a good game against. The Jets, we have second going 7-9. Dolphins 4-11. Bills 1-15. They are just terrible. The Dolphins I had doing a little bit better, but then they traded away Laramie Tunsil and Kenny Stills to the Houston Texans. That took them down a bunch. The Jets, with Le'Veon Bell, Sam Darnold maybe taking a progression, Leonard Williams and Quinnen Williams down in the middle, the addition of C.J. Mosley, I think they'll be much improved this season. AFC West, we have the Chiefs winning the division at 12-4, Chargers getting the wild card spot at 11-5, Broncos follow 5-11, Raiders 4-12. The Raiders could be a little worse than this, but they have a solid offense. Antonio Brown is good. Josh Jacobs could pan out. We'll see. Broncos will be a tough out for any team. They have a solid roster, improved O-line. They run the ball well. Flacco's not good enough, obviously, and we'll see how their wide receivers are without Demaryius Thomas, with Emmanuel Sanders coming off a Achilles tear, and you got Courtland Sutton. We'll see how he does. The Chargers are stacked again. They have maybe the one, just like last year, probably maybe the best roster in the league. However, with Derwin James going down, Melvin Gordon possibly not playing, they're not going to win the division. The Chiefs are still a class of the AFC West. With Mahomes and that offense, they're the team to beat. The defense will be horrid again. I know they got a new defensive coordinator. They got Frank Clark instead of Dee Ford. They got Tyrann Mathieu. Blah, 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 blah. The defense will be terrible. How is Eric Berry still a free agent? AFC North. We got the Browns winning the division. It took 3 years of me predicting them getting better for them to actually get better last year. Now I have them going 11-5 and winning the division. Their roster is one of the most complete rosters in the league. They have the best receiving group in the league. Well, I would say best receiving tandem, most stacked offense as a whole, because you got Njoku, you got Kareem Hunt, you got Odell, you got Landry, you got Callaway when he's off his suspension, you got Baker Mayfield. Whereas I'll get into the other really good receiving cores in the league so far later on. But I have them going 11-5. I have the Ravens going 9-7. That defense is still good. Lamar Jackson is going to improve. They improved the wide receivers around him a pretty decent amount. Next, we have some hot takes. We have the Bengals going 6-10. I like Zach Taylor. He's the one guy from the McVay coaching tree that I actually like. He's a quarterback coach that will help Dalton. If he can coach the O-line, they'll be better than 6-10 because that defense is solid still with Geno Atkins, with Carlos Dunlap, with Sean Williams, Jesse Bates, Vincent Ray, and that's still a really solid defense. And an offense, you traded for Cordy Glenn to shore up that left tackle spot. Sure, you had some other injuries on the offensive line, but you still got A.J. Green coming back probably week 3. You still got Tyler Boyd. You got John Ross, the fastest player in the league. If he can get on the field, he can do some damage. You got Joe Mixon, who has the potential to be a top 5 running back in the league. I mean, And then this is where the hot take comes. You got Steelers in last play, tied for last place, 6-10, but they don't have the tiebreaker. The Steelers, their defense is just horrid without Shazier. The secondary, they're just gonna get wrecked, especially in this division where you got the Bengals who are gonna throw a lot, you got the Browns who are gonna throw a lot. They're gonna get obliterated. The offense is still decent, but it's going to take a step back without a B and Juju. Now you got Juju and James Washington, which is just not the same. And then you don't have Jesse James anymore. Sure, you have Vance McDonald, but come on. But Ben is also getting a year older. I know there's all this talk about him proving himself or whatever. I just don't think it's going to happen. I've never been a real big Ben fan, and the Steelers don't really get me going because they haven't invested in a secondary in 10 years now. AFC South, Texans I have winning the division at 12-4, and Jaguars getting that last playoff spot at 10-6. Titans going 9-7, Colts at 6-10. Titans could go anywhere between 7-9 and 9-7. I think Colts could be a little better. Andrew Luck got hurt. We'll see how Jacoby Brissett does, but they have a tough schedule, and I think that defense will not be as good as last year. I think last year they took some people by surprise with Darius Leonard's coming out party. That will not be the case this year. They just don't have the talent on defense. I know they got Malik Hooker and Darius Leonard among a few other guys, but it's not that top tier everywhere else. Titans have a pretty good roster. Their problem is Taylor Lewan will be suspended for the first 4 games, and Mariota has trouble throwing into tight windows. So that is a reason for them not making the playoffs. This is the division, though, the only division in the NFL where all 4 teams have made the playoffs in the last 2 years. The Jaguars will bounce back with an actual quarterback this year, and their defense will not be 7th and talked about as bad last year, even though they're 7th, going from 1st to 7th. They'll be top 3 this year. The Texans lose Clowney, but get where they needed to go, and they got protection for Deshaun Watson. I don't know why they got Kenny Stills. If it was me, I would have gone Mike Gesicki because the Texans love throwing the tight end, but the Dolphins may have said no. But anyway, you got Deontay Foreman and Carlos Hyde, which is better than Lamar Miller and Deontay Foreman. Not Deontay Foreman, Duke Johnson and Carlos Hyde instead of Deontay Foreman and Lamar Miller, which is what they have now is better. And then you got Kenny Stills to go with. This is the best receiving core in the league. You got DeAndre Hopkins, you got Will Fuller, you got Kiki Kuti, you got Kenny Stills. All 4 wide receiver. Kiki Kuti is a wide receiver 3, but the rest of them are wide receiver 2 and up on most teams. And then Deshaun Watson, who we'll get to later on, but I predict him MVP. NFC East, Cowboys winning at 12-4. Zeke is not holding out anymore and looks in great shape. Just signed for $90 million at $50 million guaranteed. That will make him happy, and he will rush all over the place. The Eagles will be right behind them with the wild card spot at 11-5. That is such a close matchup. Watch for a few key games against each other and also against the Falcons. The Redskins at 5-11 and the Giants at 3-13. The Giants, sure, the offensive line is improved, but Eli Manning has digressed. He'll start out with the job, and then you'll have a rookie just thrown into that mix with no receivers. Sterling Shepard is injured. Golden Tate is suspended, and Evan Ingram is dealing with some injuries on his own also. But he'll be fine. Then you got the Rams at 12-4. They're the class of the NFC. They're just coming off the Super Bowl. Hopefully, we won't see a Super Bowl hangover. I haven't seen that much. Darrell Henderson is looking good, even if Gurley isn't there. Brandon Cooks is good. You got Aaron Donald, you got Eric Weddle coming to shore up that secondary. That's going to be a really good team. Seahawks are getting that last wild card spot barely because they will beat the Falcons in Week 8. They'll go 11-5 and get that wild card spot. If they lose in Week 8, they will miss the playoffs at 10-6, and the Falcons will get it at 11-5. But we'll go more on that later. The 49ers, 7-9. Cardinals at 4-12. I want to talk a little bit about the 49ers and the rest of them in this division. The Seahawks, with Clowney added, they have a top 5 front 7 in the league. They have a top 3 linebacking core. You had that before with Bobby, Kendricks, and KJ, and now Clowney can just focus on pass rushing. And since he's so athletic, he'll pop out every once in a while. But in a 4-3 genius scheme that the Seahawks run, he'll be more of a defensive end, just pass rushing next to opposite the edge of Ziggy Ansah, which will be great. Once Jarran Reed comes back from suspension, their defensive line will be really good, and the front 7 might be the best in the league. The 49ers, this all depends on Jimmy and that more on the defense, in my opinion, because Kyle Shanahan, we know the offense is going to score points. You got Tevin Coleman, you got Matt Breida, you got Dante Pettis, you got Marquise Goodwin, you got George Kittle, and Jimmy G. We'll see how he does. But the defense, you got Nick Bosa needing their first-round pick, needing to step up and show that he took off that last year at college for a reason. And you also got Eric Armstead and many others that need to step up. Richard Sherman also, they signed Jason Verrett. So that defense needs to show that it can play together. I think they're a year away. They're still a little young, so I have them at 7-9. The Cardinals will only be an offensive team. I expect that defense to be horrid. Chandler Jones, I'm sorry. Patrick Peterson, I'm sorry. But you got no one else. On offense, you got Cliff Kingsbury reunited with Kyler Murray, which I think is a great tandem, especially because it's so fluid. You're going straight from playing with one another to straight with playing with not one another, and then you get DJ right next to you, which is a great option, and you got Larry Fitzgerald to help Kyler Murray out too. So that will be only an offense team. They'll struggle early, especially week 1 against the Lions team with the top 5 defensive line in the league, especially against the run. So if you're fantasy, probably play DJ. If you're in PPR standard, I know people say, and he was probably your first round pick, but I would be a little wary. Now at NFC North, we have the Bears winning the division at 11-5. Vikings, I have it 8-8 just because they have a really tough schedule. They could boost up and make the playoffs or vie for a wild card spot. Maybe. I just don't see it. The NFC is just too stacked at that level right now. Then the Lions right behind them at 7-9. Matt Patricia and that defense is going to be scary. Trey Flowers coming in. That defense, that front 7 is top 10 in the league. Defensive line top 5. And they improved their O-line. Expect Kerryon Johnson and Kenny Golladay to break out. I love Matt Stafford. He's getting a lot of hate recently. I still think he's like a top 8 quarterback in the league right now. He is a top 3 strongest arm in the league. I just think they need to play smarter and with some health too. But they're a couple years away from actually competing, but they're good. And this was my other hot take. Packers last in the division, 6-10. I think Aaron Rodgers will get hurt again because I think he'll have to do too much because the defense won't be able to stop anyone. I mean, they have a few really good players like Amos in the secondary, but they let go of Mike Daniels, and I don't know why they did that. So their defense is just shredded. The offensive line is getting a little older. They're good at pass blocking, not so much at run blocking. And Devontae Adams, I'm not really that big of a fan of his. I don't think that he is such a great wide receiver 1. And even if he is a wide receiver 1, they don't have much around him. With no running game, Aaron Rodgers will have to escape the pocket too much and will get injured, and the Packers will suffer. NFC South, we have the Saints winning the division. Falcons coming in second. Saints were 12-4. Falcons 10-6. Panthers also 10-6, but the Falcons have the tiebreaker. Buccaneers at 2-14. So the Falcons just miss it because of that Week 8 matchup. The Panthers also just miss it record-wise. They could also go 9-7, but I think the Panthers are much improved. They got DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel coming back. On defense, they signed Bruce Irvin, which is, I think, an upgrade from Thomas Davis, who's getting up there in age, but Thomas Davis is still solid. And then you have McCaffrey getting a little bit better. You have Shaq Thompson getting a little bit better. So that's going to be improvement. Falcons also, they get health back. They get Keanu Neal, Deion Jones. Calvin Ridley gets a year better. That offense is going to be potent. You get Devontae Freeman back. If Dan Quinn can coach that defense, they might make the playoffs even if they lose week 8. Saints, it's more about the offense actually with the Falcons because Dan Quinn will do his job, but it's about the offensive coordinator actually making smart plays, not like Steve Sarkisian. The Saints, you have Kiko Alonso, who they traded with. That they needed help in the linebacker position. They're going to be improved, except maybe in the running game without Mark Ingram. They could struggle to score some touchdowns in the red zone and have that sort of back and forth change of pace because Latavius Murray doesn't run like Mark Ingram. But that's still a really good team, and that's why 12-4. So the MVP, there's some more descriptions in the article about that, so you can read more about that there. But I'm just going to go through it a little bit. Deshaun Watson is the MVP. Texans are going to be tied for the best division in the league, probably. And their offense will be incredible with the best wide receivers in the league. And Bill O'Brien, who's a quarterback and former whisper and a former offensive coordinator. Defensive player of the year, we have Aaron Donald. He's just too good. He's literally insane. That swim move that he does is it's like a chop and a swim. It's really genius. Look at the video of him showing it to DeMarcus Ware. Offensive player of the year, you got Saquon Barkley. They're gonna feed him and feed him and feed him and feed him, and his thighs are insane. So he will win that. Offensive rookie of the year, Kyler Murray. He's going to be given the keys from day one, combined with Cliff Kingsbury. That offense can be made for him. Nick Bosa, I expect him to get some sacks with the 49ers. He is so good. His skills are finely tuned. He has a good push. He's a good first step. He took off his final senior year in college and was still a top 5 pick. It's really crazy that someone could do that. Coach of the year, Bill O'Brien, because he'll be tied for the best record in the league, and he would have made such a far jump from previous years. And that's interesting because he's on the hot seat for a lot of players, a lot of people. Playoff predictions. Now, we have the wild card round. So I'm going to list the playoff teams real quickly. Texans, Jaguars, Browns, Chargers, Patriots, Chiefs. In the AFC, NFC, Cowboys, Seahawks, Bears, Eagles, Rams, Saints. So I did the tiebreakers in my predictions a little bit. So I had the Texans versus the Jaguars in the wild card round for the first game. I have the Texans winning. I think that offense is too much, so they'll outscore the Jaguars by more than Nick Foles and Leonard Fournette will be able to score against J.J. Watt. Browns versus Chargers. The winner's the Browns because Chargers choke in the playoffs sometimes. Browns, I think that offense is insane, and they also have a really good defense. The Chargers O-line isn't so good, so Myles Garrett coming off that edge and Olivier Vernon also coming off the edge will be tough. In the NFC, with the Cowboys versus the Seahawks, I have an upset because Jason Garrett sucks. Seahawks will win. Then Jason Garrett will be fired the next day. And finally, the Cowboys could maybe make it past the divisional round. Then the Bears versus the Eagles. The winner will be the Eagles. Just because they've been there before. I expect Carson Wentz to play really well. And they have a more well-rounded team. Whereas the Bears are a little young, and I don't really trust Trubisky yet. Also, David Montgomery, we don't know really what he's going to be yet. Divisional round, AFC, Patriots versus Browns. I have the Patriots winning. Patriots are the class of the AFC. They have the deepest wide receiving core Brady's ever had. It's the whole team is super deep, except for maybe D-line, but where they just traded for some more depth there. Chiefs versus Texans. I have Texans upsetting the Chiefs because I think J.J. Watt makes a crucial play at the right time, and Deshaun Watson combined with DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller, Kenny Stills, and Keith Cudi, Duke Johnson, and Carlos Hyde will combine for actually a better offense than Reed, Mahomes, Kelsey, Tyreek, Sammy Watkins, Damian Williams, LaShawn McCoy. LaShawn McCoy, though, could change that. Could very well make me wrong. Then we have the Rams versus the Seahawks. I have the Rams winning. The Rams are amazing. The Seahawks don't have a good enough offensive line for Aaron Donald to just slip in. It will be a close game and a very, very, very close game. All of these are probably be close games and good games. Saints versus the Eagles. I have the Eagles upsetting the Saints again. I'm sorry, Saints. Last year was your year, and well, the Eagles are just so well-rounded and good. With Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson running that offense, tough to beat. Championship round, you got the AFC Patriots versus Texans. Texans are babies. The Patriots have been beating them for years. Sooner or later, they'll overtake the Patriots, or someone will, but I just don't think so for this year and this time. You still got Brady, you still got Belichick. I could go on, but I'd be rambling. The Patriots are going to win that. Then I think the Rams beat the Eagles, and we have the first time since 1993 where two teams play back-to-back Super Bowls. The Rams I have winning this time, though. I think their offense is more modern style and just will outscore the Patriots by a little bit. Next and last, I'm going to go through this quickly. My Week 1 predictions. So I have the Packers at Bears. I have the Bears winning. They'll win by at least a touchdown. Their defense will shut down Aaron Rodgers. Khalil Mack is hungry. Remember what happened last year? Rams, Panthers. I have the Rams winning. This is a close game. This is in Carolina. So the Panthers could very well win this, but I have the Rams squeezing out a victory. Eagles, Redskins at Eagles. I have the Eagles winning, obviously. Bills at Jets. Jets are going to win that. They're in a way better class than the Bills, even with the both being pretty bad. Falcons at Vikings. This is another tough one. The Vikings could very well win if their defense shows out at home. However, I think the Falcons will outmatch them with their high-powered offense. Ravens at Dolphins. I have the Ravens winning because the Dolphins are not good. Chiefs at Jaguars. I have the Jaguars upsetting the Chiefs in Week 1. Nick Foles comes out swinging. Leonard Fournette comes out swinging, and it's a high-scoring game. But the Jags defense is able to limit the Chiefs' offense more than the Chiefs' defense is able to limit the Jaguars' offense. Titans at Browns, another good game, but the Browns will come out with the victory. They're at home. Colts at Chargers. Chargers will definitely win. Andrew Luck, it would have been more interesting. I would have taken the Chargers anyway, but the Chargers will win. Bengals at Seahawks. Seahawks will win. 49ers at Buccaneers. The 49ers will win. Giants at Cowboys. Cowboys are going to win. That won't be close at all. Maybe 14 points the margin will be. 10 points because they'll probably slow the pace. Lions at Cardinals. The Lions are going to win this one because the defensive line is going to harass Kyler Murray. Steelers at Patriots. The Patriots are going to win easily. Edelman will be insane. Texans at Saints. The Saints will win. This is probably the best game of the week. Or maybe Chiefs Jaguars, but this game will be amazing. It will be like 32-28 or something like that. Saints come out with the victory. Broncos at Raiders. The Broncos will win. Their defense is just too good, and then they'll rush the ball and control the pace. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll be on Chapman Radio, time TBD.